Hey guys, welcome back. So today we thought we'd do something a little bit different. We have a ghost story to share.
From yesterday.
And we figured we would go ahead and talk about it while it's like fresh on our minds.
Yeah, because I still felt the spookiness even most of today.
Me too. Yeah, so backstory, or I guess I'll just go ahead and start with the story time. So we have been looking at some houses here where we live because my parents are most likely going to be moving here and they currently live 2 hours away. So we've been helping them out by going and checking out some houses for them. So yesterday we went to tour a house and we got some haunted vibes.
It was more than vibes. I mean,
Yeah.
We got like video evidence.
Yeah.
Essentially.
So obviously because my parents couldn't be there, I actually originally was going to FaceTime them as we were touring it so that they could get like a live virtual tour. But for some reason, there was just no signal here at this house. So I tried to call them.
Which was like a red flag for me the moment it happened. Because
even regardless of like any sort of hauntedness, like that is kind of a bit of a red flag.
Because you brought it up, like most people probably wouldn't have even have thought about it.
Right.
Because
the only reason we discovered that was because we were trying to call my parents while we were there.
Your phone wasn't working at all, and then you asked me if I had service, and I had like one bar.
And I tried to call them from his phone. And
you could connect, but
it connected at first, but then it froze. And so I was like, you know, that's fine. I'll just take a video instead. The house so it's for rent, and the landlords met us there. It's a couple that previously lived in the house, and they have since moved like a couple hours away, but they're now renting out the house. So they met us there and, unlocked the door for us. And it was weird because at first they seemed like they were going to come in with us, but then I stepped outside to try to reach my parents and see if I could get the call to connect. And so as I stepped kind of outside into the like driveway area, they came back out.
And you were talking to your parents at this point, or trying to, but I was standing right next to them, and neither of them even went into the kitchen.
Okay.
And immediately turned around, and they turned on like 5 lights.
Yeah, they
turned on those
lights, and then they
turned on the kitchen lights and like 3 others in the house on the upper floor, and that's it. Like they didn't get very far into the house at all to turn on the lights or anything.
Yeah, and so we thought it was kind of weird that they stayed outside.
Like really outside.
Time
they were not in the garage.
No.
They weren't.
They were
like
the woman was in the driveway and the guy was, out in the yard, which was just kind of weird because, you'd think, to me in the moment I was thinking, since, we asked them if it was okay to first to FaceTime my parents, but then to video instead. And so it seemed like maybe they were just going to stay out of our way to give us space since we were going to, video it. They didn't want to be like in our business or anything, which I get that, but at the same time, I don't know. In other tours, the landlord was there in the house. They let us kind of do our thing, but they're there in case we have questions or
they might like stay
something
in one place.
Yeah.
Or like the kitchen.
Anyway, so this is all kind of just a little bit of a backstory to kind of set up the scene for you. So we go into the house, and then we just, start kind of checking out all the rooms. And I have a list of timestamps.
When did the whistling happen? Because I feel like that was right at the beginning, right?
At the very
14
beginning.
seconds.
So as soon as we walked in from the garage, I was pointing my camera into the laundry room because that was the first room that you see when you walk in. And we didn't hear this in the moment while we were there, but watching the video back later, we noticed this.
You noticed it.
Yeah, I noticed
didn't hear it first.
There's a very faint whistling in the background that sounds like it's coming from somewhere in the house. We're pretty certain it was not the landlords, the couple that was there.
I'm dead certain. I was behind you when you were filming, and they weren't near me. Mm-hmm. And there's no way. It's so quiet in the video. There's no way that we wouldn't have heard it louder in real life. And then we would have been like, oh, I remember one of them started whistling to themselves. That didn't happen.
Door from the garage. There's the laundry room. It's very hard to hear, at least on the phone. You have to like have the volume turned all the way up and like be listening pretty closely, but it's right after I say, there's the laundry room. The door from the garage. There's the laundry room. So the next thing that, well, you heard while we were there, I was so busy trying to capture the video. I was just like focused on getting the video done for my parents. But we walked into the master bathroom and I was just kind of, you know, showing like, here's the sinks, here's the shower, and you can just hear for yourself what happened then. Another sink, wow. 3 sinks in this master bath.
Like, I heard that. Mm-hmm. I heard that in the house when it happened. My blood, like, went cold. I just froze, I remember. And I don't move in the video, and that's me not moving. But I don't really react. And the only reason I didn't react is because I figured I wasn't the only one who heard it, and that like if Sarah heard it and she was like, whatever, I'm just gonna take it in stride and keep filming. I was like, well, all right, I'll follow her lead, because it was for her parents, and it was like totally your call. And I didn't know that like you hadn't heard it. I just thought that you also heard it, but like I was just ready to leave at that point. Yeah. And I would have, like, if I'd been filming, I would have been like, all right, this isn't the house.
See, I think I must have heard it, but for some reason, I think it went in one ear and my brain didn't even register it, because I just assumed that the landlords were like doing something in the garage, and so my mind didn't even say, hey, what was this sound? I just didn't even register it.
There's like, but
the key thing to remember here is that they were not in the house. They were outside.
They weren't in the house. They weren't near the house. And there's just, I remember when I heard it too, I knew exactly what it was, and that it wasn't the landlords, because it's 3 really systematic just crashes. Mm-hmm. And it was so loud. It was reverberating throughout the house. Like,
and you felt like it was just coming from somewhere in the house? Like, did you
It felt like it was coming from everywhere in the house. Like, I just knew it wasn't the garage.
Yeah.
That's why I like just went cold, because I was like, wow, they're really like sending a message right off the bat. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just a straight up like, hey, right before you go any farther, we're here. Like,
yeah. And we were in the bathroom. It definitely wasn't coming from, like, a floorboard that we stepped on, or, like, I mean, we were in the tile bathroom.
I mean, it sounds metallic, which is just wild. Like, I don't know what it is.
3 bangs, like, one after another. Another sink, wow. 3 sinks in this master bath.
It just,
What to think of that. I really
very obviously in the background too. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not something you have to turn up. Like,
no, you'll hear it. We don't.
Like maybe turn up the audio a little bit to like
hear it clearly.
Hear it more clearly, but it's maybe you could play both. You could play both audio. Like, play it once.
I'll play it over a few times so you guys can really hear it. But yeah. So, and it's right after I say, there's 3 sinks in this bathroom. Yeah,
which was so weird, because, like, you weren't even finished speaking.
No.
You weren't even finished saying that sentence. It was right after you said 3. Mm-hmm. And it was just 3.
3 sounds.
Just super. It was just 3 very steady.
Yeah, it was a steady
knocks.
Beat of 3. Another sink, wow. 3 sinks in this master bath. Another sink, wow. 3 sinks in this master bath. So, to explain a little bit more about this house, it's a split-level home, and this happened on the main, like, upper level of the house. Some split-level homes, both levels are above ground. Part of the lower level might be somewhat underground, but, like, this house, the lower level was very much a basement. So, I just want to explain that. But all of this is happening on the first floor, or the upper floor right now. So that happened, and I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really register it. I was just focused on the task at hand, even though at this point I already knew that I didn't like this house, and I knew I was going to tell my parents, like, I don't like this house.
So you were walking down the hallway now, out of the bathroom, and then the stairs are on the left. Mm-hmm. And right across from the stairs, on the lower part of the wall, is a vent. Mm-hmm. There are like multiple vents throughout the house.
Yeah. It had a lot of those kind of vents that were on like the lower part of the wall, like right above the floor.
Yeah.
But right as I walked by that vent, we both heard loud and clear a tapping sound that sounded like it was coming from right inside the vent. I guess that is this whole floor there. Pardon me. Alright, so now we're going down the stairs. There's the front door.
I was walking behind you and it sounded like a literal person. I like perceived basically a finger just tapping on the vent, and one time you hear it, it's like they stop tapping and drag their finger.
Pardon me. Alright, so now we're going down
across the grate of the vent and then tap like one or two more times.
Yeah.
And we were talking later after we got back from all this, and you thought that, and I also agree that might have happened because you didn't hear the like loud banging, so they were going to get even closer.
Yeah, and they definitely got my attention that time.
Yeah, you heard it. Well, you literally say, pardon me.
You can hear in the video that tapping happened, and there's like so we counted, and there's like about 10 taps total. Or
like 9 taps and 1 rake.
Okay, yeah. There were 5 like really clear ones at the beginning, like tap,
right
tap,
at the beginning.
Tap, 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 and you can hear me sort of mutter, "Pardon me." Pardon me. Alright, so now we're going down because like that was just what popped out of my mouth. Like,
and I didn't hear you say that,
no.
Like in the moment. And you even mentioned saying that while I was watching the video while we were driving back. You said like, I remember I said like, I'm sorry or something. I was like,
yeah,
what?
I don't know why I felt compelled to respond as if it was a being,
a person, or people.
I should also add, the entire time we're walking through this house, we didn't discuss between ourselves any of these feelings we were having. We were both feeling kind of creeped out by this house, but we hadn't like confirmed with each other like, hey, are you noticing these weird things? Are you feeling a strange vibe here?
Well, yeah, you were talking to your phone.
Yeah.
Like you were just filming and talking to your phone like it was a video call, basically.
Yeah.
So we
weren't even talking to each other because we were, again, just like trying to get the video and get out. But anyway, so that happened right as we were about to go downstairs to that lower basement level. Heidi.
We're in here. Yeah.
Are we ignoring you?
Oh, you think so?
You brought your caterpillar?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough.
So that tapping, that happened right as we were about to go down the stairs to that lower basement level, which I was already kind of anticipating being a little bit creepy because before we left to go view this house, I'd been looking back at the pictures online, and there's one room, which I'll show you in the video now. It's very pink, and there's like no windows in the room, and it almost has this kind of puzzle-looking design on the wall. That room gave me the creeps, like even just looking at it even just looking at the picture online before we went to see the house, and I showed it to him, and he was like, you know.
There were a couple rooms. I was actually excited to go because even just looking from a couple pictures, I could already tell that there was something going on. I didn't expect it to be anything like this, but I feel like you can tell.
Yeah,
like in the pictures,
I kind of got the willies looking at those pictures.
There's just not enough light, like in the house. It's just noticeable. It's like too much light is being absorbed by the shadows.
Right.
It's wild.
It's one of those houses where, you know, and pictures can sort of hide this a little bit, but we still kind of got that vibe from the pictures.
I feel like it's noticeable in our video too.
Yeah, very much.
Even though it may look nondescript on the surface, it's really
like it doesn't
dark.
matter. It's one of those houses where it doesn't matter if it's broad daylight and you have all the lights turned on, no matter how bright the lights are. It just feels dark. Like it almost, to me, I was describing to him last night. It almost feels like everything is covered in like a greenish gray film. And it's not like you can see that when you're there in person. Like, it's not like you can visually see that or anything, but that's just how it feels. Like, it feels like there's almost like a cloud or a film that, like, you're looking at the house through sunglasses or something. Like, it's just dark for no good reason. Because there were woods on either side of the house, but it's not like the house was surrounded by woods or anything. Back to what I was saying. I was already feeling a little, like, not excited to go see the basement, but I just wanted to go ahead and, like, finish off the tour and be able to show my parents the full house. So we go down the stairs, and for some reason I'm in front of him. But I didn't want to be, like, in the lead or anything, or taking the lead. But the basement...
Well, then you started to, too, on the door to our left, and you opened the door, and then you just left it open. You're like, oh, what's behind that? And I was like, I don't know. Let's not leave the door open without a light in there.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, as we're walking down the stairs, it's just pitch black down there.
It was so dark.
And I was like, yeah, this is why I was
and
dreading
it was
down
light
there.
outside. It was definitely getting dark, but it was still light outside, and it felt like it was 11:30 p.m. The whole time we were in the house.
Oh,
it felt like it was it felt like even when we were looking out the windows to see light outside. Yeah. As the sun's like slowly going down, it felt like midnight. It felt like it was 11:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Like.
So anyway, the basement, super creepy. Very few windows. Might as well have had no windows. There is one moment in the video that we were watching back where we were looking in, like, I guess there's like one actual bedroom in the basement. There's like 4 or 5 rooms in the basement, but this one is basically identical to the master bedroom upstairs, and I'm pretty sure it was like right below it too.
Yeah,
but
and
anyway,
it had a bathroom attached to it.
Yeah, that was also basically identical to the upstairs bathroom. But we're walking through that room, and he's going to like open up the closet, and I'm like following behind him, and you can hear footsteps that don't sound like my footsteps, and they're definitely not his because they don't match up with his.
take like 3 steps in that moment.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
wasn't
it's
his.
not mine.
I don't remember hearing footsteps while we were filming that.
What also sounds like you weren't shuffling
it
across
sounds like
the floor.
Shuffling, like as if someone was wearing like slides or like sandals.
Yeah.
That's not how I walk either.
No, it's not how you walk at all. And that's kind of the thing is like you can hear your strikes, I think, in the video.
And these footsteps almost sounded like they were in the hallway. Like they weren't right there where I was.
Yeah.
So that was another kind of weird thing. There was another moment in the basement where, and this could have just been because I was on edge because this basement put me on edge, but there was a moment where I was walking past one of these doorways in the basement, and I thought he had walked by that door in the hallway, but then I looked and he was like in front of me, like in the room
right
with
in front. Yeah, right.
And so that very well could have just been me already feeling kind of paranoid or like creeped out by this basement, that maybe I just saw like my hair out of the corner of my eye. Who knows? Like that can happen, but that was a moment where I felt like there was someone there, and it wasn't him. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed it. When you open the concrete closet, other than you barely nudging it, your voice is really shaky.
Oh yeah, no, I was super nervous.
Your voice is really shaky, and after you say whatever you say about the closet, you do like a little like scared inhale.
Another possible storage room there. Because this was the part where you were in the other room.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, okay, like I'm trying to show all the closets and stuff. I don't know why at this point, I don't know why I was still so, like, set on finishing off the video, because I really should have just been like, okay, like, obviously they're not going to want this house.
Yeah.
But that, I guess I just have a very one-track mind. Like, when I'm doing a task, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to finish this video because I already started it.
And I think I broke off to turn on the rest of the lights so that we weren't discovering everything else in the dark either.
I was dreading opening every single door in this basement.
It was.
I didn't want to open any of them.
It really sucked, and like I do not get like spooked. By things, and like it was really tough to open doors.
And a lot of the walls and ceilings in this house looked saggy, like they were either bulging out or
they were like bloated, but like, or just it was
why?
Like, oh man.
I mean, the house was built in the 70s, which like not that long ago if you think about it, but for some reason this house felt like it was 100 years old.
It just felt,
didn't it? Like it just felt way old.
It felt
it's been like remodeled
needed
since
to be.
It was first built.
But the crazy part is, we found older pictures on the internet, probably from like the early 2000s.
Before it was remodeled.
Before it was remodeled. And it had, I don't know if the carpet was from the 70s, but it looked old. But it was this worn red carpet in that big room in the basement. And I noticed that it was really weird walking around this kind of like do-it-yourself, slide-together, vinyl wood flooring puzzle piece kind of floor, that it was really soft and cushy, and that the floor in places like...
And you can kind of hear it in our footsteps on that floor. This is... big room there.
It's really just, it's too creaky. I remember I was just like, why is it almost spongy? I think that they assembled that wood floor just straight on top of the carpet and didn't take the carpet up at all.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know why, that's one of the freakiest things
that really
to me.
Freaks me out.
I don't know who decides to do that, but like that carpet's just rotting between that wood floor and the like cement.
Oh, I wanted to mention also, like, it's crazy to me, the video that I took from basically from start to finish is only 8 minutes long. Or let me see, I think it's like 8 minutes and 42 seconds long. So
we weren't even in the house for 10 minutes.
No.
It felt like at least half an hour.
It felt like we were in there for so
at 11:30 p.m. Like we were like from there 11:30 p.m. to midnight. Mm-hmm. Like
I just cannot believe that was only 8 minutes of our time. Like
I remember feeling like surely we must be imposing on their time.
Right, because I felt like in my memory it felt like they were waiting for us outside for so long, which was also made weirder by the fact that they were just outside the whole time.
We walk out and I look to the left, and I mentioned this before, but the guy's way out in the yard.
Yeah,
and he's
out in
like
the yard just kind of looking at the house like this.
Got his like hand on his knee kind of thing, like just like looking at the house. And I guess it was his wife or a girlfriend, partner, whatever. Like she's down the driveway but not near the house, on the front side of the house, really closer to the front yard or part of, like in the front yard. So they converge on us and come back. And the first thing the wife says is, "I'm sorry about the basement. I know it's dark. I'm sorry I didn't turn on all the lights." But, she was essentially trying to imply that, like, yeah, you guys could have done it. But the moment and I was, of course, just like, yeah, no worries. Like, we turned them all on and turned them all off. But in my mind, I was immediately like, why didn't she want to turn on the lights?
We also noticed that, like, when we got there and met them outside and everything, like, they seemed very kind of cheery and
they were very cheery.
Yeah.
They seemed genuinely in good spirits.
Yeah, and then when we came out, their mood seemed much lower, and I don't know if maybe they picked up on the fact that we were kind of
freaked
spooked
out. Like, oh man.
I mean, we weren't saying anything when we walked out. We were being polite and normal, I think. We weren't like...
Sure, we had to have been.
we weren't acting weird.
No, we weren't acting weird.
We weren't giving them any signals that we were unhappy with the house.
And we had masks on, so it's not like most of our expression was obscured anyway. But their whole demeanor did change. Mm-hmm. Like, they seemed, I don't know. I remember, just kind of like you automatically responding to the tapping. I remember looking at them and I was like, are these guys like despairing right now? I don't know.
Like, I got the vibe that maybe they knew we didn't like it and so they felt disappointed. That's what it felt like to me, but I don't know. It just seemed like their mood was just like...
Yeah, but like I just have no... We weren't even in there for 10 minutes, so I have no idea why...
The mood changed so rapidly.
They wouldn't think, like maybe the house like affects them that way, or like...
I mean, because remember, they lived in this house. Anyway, so, I mean, I feel like we're both pretty in tune with like these kinds of signals and energies around us, I mean, you said you felt like the message that the spirits, whoever was in this house was trying to get across to us was, hey, just so you know, we live here. Are you sure you want to deal with us? Are you sure you want to be around us? Like, because our energy does not match whatever
energy exists in that house.
Yeah, and so I think that's why we heard it so loud and clear.
I mean, and I said this last night, like, in a way that's being able to recognize that as them doing us a favor,
right?
Because it really felt. I mean, the moment I heard those crashes in the video, I was just...
ready to leave.
I was ready to leave.
And
I would have left. I would have left without a second thought. I would have graciously told the people, like, sorry, we've got some criteria. We already know this isn't going to work. Thank you so much for your time. And just walked out. Like, because to me, it was just like, hey, bang, bang, bang. We're here. Are you ready to deal with that? And then you didn't. I didn't catch that. You didn't catch the first time. I was
totally oblivious.
So they got way closer, behind the vent.
Like, I could feel the tapping.
Yeah.
Because it was inches away from my foot.
Yeah, like, and I was like a couple feet behind you, and I felt, it felt like, you could like feel the like point on the vent happening. It wasn't just some dispersed like pattern. It was like a singular point being tapped in the same place on the vent. And there they were totally just like, hey, in case you didn't hear us the first time, we're really here. Are you ready to deal with that kind of thing? Yeah. And you noticed and totally responded to them. I still can't believe you did that. Like, that's
it was totally
not in like in a bad way. That's not bad. I think it makes sense to.
It was completely unconscious of me though. Like, I think my subconscious just
kicked in,
knew how to respond, or what, like, that I was responding to. I felt like I was responding to someone. And I said, pardon me, like, under my breath. Like, I wasn't even trying to be heard necessarily. That was just kind of my automatic, like, I was almost joking or trying to make light of the situation to myself.
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me, like, excuse me, just coming through here.
Just coming through here.
That's what
Don't collapse the house on me, please.
Yeah, like, can I just get past here?
Get past here.
But anyway, so that was our weird, ghostly experience. Love to hear what you guys think of those video clips. Those were really the main points in the video that we felt were pretty, I don't know, blatantly creepy. Yeah,
plenty of points too, which is just great. It was like through the whole video. We were in there less than 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, when we pulled out of that house, finally I was able to reach my parents, who were worried, by the way. They were like, we can't get in contact.
We were in there for less than 10 minutes, and they're like, what's going on?
Yeah, they were like, because they were expecting me to FaceTime them. We had this, like, they were like, okay, around this time, you're going to call us. And I'm sure they were all anxiously awaiting my call, and then it didn't go through, and they were worried, that's the kind of parents they are. They're going to worry when something like this happens. Even though
it's been 10 minutes.
It's been 10 minutes. What's going on? Anyway, but as soon as we pulled out of the driveway down the road, I did talk to my parents on the phone, and they were like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Well, there was no cell phone signal at this house.
Anywhere to be found."
But
I
basically just told them straight up, like, I didn't like this house at all. This was before he and I had even exchanged any words.
Yeah.
After we left, because like as soon as we pulled out, my dad called, and so I answered the phone, and I just said, I don't like this house at all. I felt like it had very dark energy. I think that's what I said, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And they were like, oh, okay, So anyway, yeah, I mean, I think like I would rather them like stay in a hotel until they find a place, like, than to stay in this house, because I just feel like it would be really bad. I don't know.
It was crazy.
And the other thing I didn't mention, like, driving there, on the way there, before we saw it, I just felt, I was kind of dreading it. I was like, I felt like something was going to be off about it. I didn't know what it was. I feel like this was something that, like, I'll never forget the feeling of being in that house.
Yeah. Like,
it was haunted for sure.
But we did say last night that was because you chose to keep the video tour going, so rather than it being a story where like we got creeped out and left,
it feels like it's straight out of a horror film. Like the creepy things happened and then we went into the basement.
Oh man. Yeah, we did that. We'll never forget it. I guess we learned our lesson.
Yeah. I mean, I could have gone the rest of my life without seeing that basement, but here we are. Now we're here. We live to tell the tale, so...
We're here, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I guess that's about it. We kind of just wanted to process this again, or, like, get it out there, and if anybody... I don't know, I just want to hear what other people think about this, because I'm still trying to make sense of it myself. So that's it for this video. Hope we didn't freak you out too much, but, I mean, you could probably tell by the title.
But we're freaked out, so...
Now you have to deal with it.
Join the club.
Yeah, so thanks for watching. Looking forward to reading your comments. And yeah.
All right.
See ya.